Today we're going to talk about molecular formulas. Molecular formulas can be different from empirical formulas. We learned about empirical formulas back here. No matter what, you're always working in moles with a formula, whether it's empirical or molecular. The difference between an empirical and molecular formula is that the empirical is always the simplest, whereas the molecular is always the real life. Sometimes they're going to be the same and sometimes they're going to be different. For instance, if I say, what is the real life formula of water, you're going to say H2O. It's a simple ratio of 2 to 1. You cannot simplify a 2 to 1 ratio at all. So that means that it is also the empirical formula of water. So water has the same empirical formula and molecular formula. However, if I say, let's think back to biology, and let's write down the molecular formula, the real life formula of glucose. That would be C6H12O6. That's the real life formula. The ratio is 6 to 12 to 6. But you could simplify that if you wanted, and it would be 1 to 2 to 1. If you divide by 6, it's 1 to 2 to 1. So that would be CH2O. So you could see that this formula is 6 times greater in the molecular than it was for the empirical. So how would this help you for a problem? Well, let's say that you did this calculation back here and got an empirical formula for something. Okay, let's say the empirical formula, instead of being CH4, let's say your final answer came out to be CH2O. And they told you that the real life formula or the molecular formula weighed 180 grams. They told you this in the problem. So you just found out that the empirical is CH2O and the real life one weighs 180. What you need to do is you need to add this up yourself. So C is 12, plus 2 is 14, 14 plus 16 is 30. So 30.0 grams is the simple, and the real one weighs 180, so that is 6 times greater. So if that's 6 times greater, then you would then know that CH2O must be 6 times greater, and then you would come up with your final answer. So one more time, you already know how to get the empirical formula for the previous notes. In the problem, an additional information they would tell you is what the molecular formula weighs. In this case, I'm telling you it would weigh 180. And then you add up the empirical yourself, see how many times greater the real life one is than the simple one, and then you multiply the same number up here to the formula to get the final formula or molecular formula of the compound.